The NFL came
Dude.
under fire last week.
What is happening?
We just have to kind of talk about the state of the league right now because things are in shambles. I'm going to
So
talk
is my
about we're
bank
talking about the
account.
good teams in a little bit, the ones that have wins, the Saints of the world, the Steelers of the world, those type of teams.
Congratulations.
But I want to talk about the teams in week 2 that it was a nightmare scenario.
Yeah.
Got
I'm
shit
talking
on.
Ravens, Bengals, 49ers, which surprised me, Cowboys, which was just belligerent,
Warned you.
and then the Lions as well because,
And the Eagles.
well, yeah,
And
the
the
Eagles too.
Rams.
The Eagles, well, no, we're talking about the good teams that are
Yeah.
surprisingly bad. The Rams
was
just have
surprised.
everyone hurt.
Yeah.
Everyone, it's not your year, buddy.
And Kyler
it's-
Murray's
but-
healthy.
Yeah, but
that's
like the
not-
Lions week 1 went into overtime and then go and lose this week.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, the Eagles also. I mean, the Eagles won week 1. No one was really sold on it, and then they just lose on Monday night to the Falcons in
Yeah.
a terribly managed end of the game.
Yeah.
So I just kind of want to open it up. How do you guys view these teams? Mario, I guess I'll start with you. You're a big Bengals guy. Joe Burrow's still not finding his stride. I mean, the end of the Chiefs
I don't
game,
know if I'd say that after.
he didn't have impressive stats. I mean, they should have won. Don't get me wrong. The flag, they should have won. But the Bengals are 0-2. The Ravens are 0-2.
Yeah, I mean, 3 years in a row that the Bengals have been 0-2. So,
Yeah.
like I said, they're probably going to go 0-3. I said last week, or 1-2, and then that's when the season starts for them.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Joe Burrow played better than Patrick Mahomes. This whole
Mahomes didn't play well.
He played
this whole-
awful.
like all these quarterbacks that the teams that you just named, like the Jalen Hurts, the Mahomes, Lamar, Goff, Dak. I mean, I just think the NFL as a whole, like from what I've seen, I don't think I'm really seeing like I don't know, like I'm seeing like a decline just across the board.
If you look at the passing yards, no one's throwing for yards this year.
Well, this
like
is also
Sam
the
Darnold's
least-
like leading like stats, and he's throwing
Which
like
is
240
crazy.
a game, 260 a game.
Yeah, Derek Carr is leading
Him
the
and
league
Derek
in
Carr,
touchdown
yup.
throws. Like,
Yeah.
Something's not right.
Something's off.
But I saw a stat. It was for the past like 5 years for passing touchdowns, like across the NFL through the first 2 weeks. 5 years ago it was 105. Then back-to-back years it was 110. Then last year was 98. This year 66. So it's just like a unbelievably low. I mean, that was before the Monday night game. So I mean, what is it now?
Yeah.
67,
Crazy.
68. But
Yeah.
I mean, I just think like the quarterback play, it just doesn't look good. Even Mahomes, who's by far, in a way, we all agree,
Best
like
quarterback
the
on his
best
own.
quarterback.
Yeah.
I mean, he has 3 interceptions, hasn't thrown for 200 yards in a game yet.
No,
I
it's
mean,
terrible.
he hasn't looked good. Like
Yeah.
no one's looked good.
I have a quick theory, just talking about passing touchdowns and as to why they're not that good this year. I don't know if this makes sense or tracks, but I think it has to do with the change in the kickoff.
I was gonna.
I'm actually
Yep.
serious about this. So back in the day, I was telling Michael about this earlier, touchbacks used to go to the 20-yard line.
Yep.
And kickers didn't have as long of a leg. Like over a 50-yard field goal was considered like, well done. Now 52 yards are just cake. They're
Yeah.
hitting like 85% this year from longer than 50.
Yeah.
So you start at the 20 and then you really have to get to like the 30 or 33 for a field goal. So that's 50 yards of offense.
Yeah.
Now touchbacks are at the 30-yard line and kickers can kick 58 to 60-yard field goals.
Yeah.
So now they only have to get to like, the 40-yard line and they start at the 30. That's only 30 yards of offense. So you're seeing not only way less passing touchdowns, but the most insane start for kickers in NFL history.
Yeah.
They are kicking so many field goals. So I feel like teams, I don't know if this completely makes sense, but they're starting closer and they don't need to go as far to guarantee points. So I feel like their play calling is safer.
Yeah.
And they're just kicking a lot of long field goals, which is why in fantasy especially, kickers are literally dominating the league. And Aubrey getting
Brandon
20,
Aubrey,
20
dude.
plus points a game. Kickers
Kill
kicking
me.
7 field goals in a game. Like, I don't know. The league is weird this year.
is
NFL
weird.
looks different. But yeah, sorry, continue about, Bengals, Ravens, etc.
No, that's actually an interesting point, and I haven't really heard anyone talk about that. But I kind of agree. I think you're seeing like a lot of safe play calling. You're seeing a lot of, I don't know. I mean, I feel like when growing up watching NFL, like once a week, bless you. I feel like once a week I would see like at least a 60-yard touchdown or 70-yard touchdown, like
Yeah.
once a week. Like
only
in
team
one
we're
game.
seeing that with is the Vikings.
And then, like,
Jada's
yeah,
97.
yeah.
This was Jada's had the 97-yarder, but I was like, there we go. Like there's like something big. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like the league just offensively is just like seems like it's in a bit of a slump right
No,
now.
I completely agree. I think like piggybacking off it, it's just offensive play calling is getting so much more conservative, and it's like
Which is weird because the league was going so just pass heavy forever.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. But now it's like I don't know. I feel like a majority of plays we see now are all rushes, like usually up the middle. It's just like, you're going to get 4 yards, 5 yards, maybe. And it's
Yeah.
like, it's just a stagnated game at this point. But I don't know. I feel like something needs to change in
Yeah.
that sense.
Yeah, I don't know. And just on the teams that lost, I mean, I was surprised on the Ravens for sure losing
That
to
was
the
insane.
Raiders.
Very
That,
surprised.
that one didn't make a lot of sense to me. I mean, we're talking about passing as a league, but Lamar throwing the ball this year, I mean, he can't.
Well, I mean, I could tell you exactly why the Ravens lost. And it's because they had the most disorganized play I've ever seen in my entire life. They got 11 penalties for 101 yards.
Yeah, no, that's not good at all. But
Awful.
Lamar also is not throwing the ball.
I mean,
he
that's
doesn't have receivers who can catch the ball. So their entire offense is Derrick Henry up the middle or Lamar Jackson the option. And the Raiders' D-line is very good with Max
Scary.
Crosby and Christian Wilkins. And so, like, they were kind of able to, like, mitigate that. And then the Ravens really didn't score at all.
Yeah.
And so I think they have a lot of problems, actually, being 0-2 going into next week. The Bengals,
Yes.
like you said, I'm not as worried about.
I'm more concerned. Exactly. what you said
I'm
about
way
the
more
Ravens.
concerned about the Ravens, which
man,
I love
I'm-
as a Steelers fan. 49ers, they don't have McCaffrey, but they didn't last week. This one's a little interesting. Brock Purdy is painful to watch right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
He's really bad. Like, really, really bad. And everyone on that team is getting hurt. Debo's
yeah.
now
I
on
was just gonna
IR.
say Debo is.
I mean, yeah. So I still think they're the best team in the NFL, just roster wise. They're going to need their players to be healthy for that roster to show up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not as worried with the 49ers. And then Lions, same thing. I'm not worried. They just have a good offense. We know what the Lions are. They're either going to win these games or lose them. But the team that has scared me last week was the Cowboys against the Saints. That was the most surprising game I think I've ever watched. And not just because the Saints are actually good this year, but that Cowboys defense fucking sucks.
yeah. Well,
Like, they're really bad. Dak, whatever. Sure. 11 fantasy points. He does his thing. He likes his interceptions.
Throws
We
two
know
picks,
what
yeah.
Dak is. We know they don't have a running game either.
Yeah.
So, like, these aren't new concepts, but this defense can't stop anybody. Like, literally anyone.
yeah.
Everyone always talks about, Trayvon Diggs at corner, Micah Parsons at outside linebacker. Like, I don't know, dude.
That's all they have.
Well, I feel like the Saints. It's more of give your flowers to the Saints because
You
they did a
think?
really. I think they did a phenomenal job of balancing the offensive play calling to where they got 140 yards on the ground and Derek Carr threw for I think 311 something like that, and so
Yeah.
190 on the ground. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's so difficult to do defensive play calling when you're going up against a team that's so balanced. You have no idea what the fuck they're gonna do at any given point.
Well, the reason why we're balanced, and to Tyler's
Alvin
point,
Kamara.
to Tyler's point is we absolutely bullied that
Every
D
play.
line.
Yeah. Every
Micah
play.
Parsons was invisible.
No.
He
yeah.
did. I don't even know if he really even got a meaningful pressure on Derek Carr.
No, I mean, Derek Carr was standing alone back there the entire game and just picking them apart, which, like,
And
you
I
know,
mean, yeah.
if this is why, I'm like not worried about the 49ers when they have a bad showing, offensive and defensively, but I am worried about the Cowboys because the 49ers have proven they can make it through the NFC.
yeah,
They can win playoff games, make it to the NFC Championship, make it to the Super Bowl, one bad call on a coin flip or a coin toss in overtime from the Super Bowl away from being current Super Bowl champions.
yeah.
So 49ers are fine. They'll figure it out. The Cowboys haven't done anything relevant in the playoffs in, I don't know.
As long as I've been alive.
30
Yeah.
years.
As long as I've been
maybe.
alive.
Yeah. So they're perpetually terrible at long-term decision making. The regular season is supposed to be where they destroy.
Yeah.
Insane win streak in the regular season. They don't lose games, especially not at home in the
Yeah.
regular season. Like, I don't know. This Cowboys team, I think, you should be very worried about because they just paid Dak last
lot of
week
money.
230. Wasn't it
I-
230 guaranteed or something?
That was
yeah, it was
130
240 and I think 230 is guaranteed.
Oh,
But and it's $40 million a year or something like that.
Yeah, it's a
It's over,
4 year,
like,
4 years,
4 years.
240.
So it's like 60.
231 guaranteed.
Yeah, no, it's
80
unbelievable.
And an 80 million signing bonus.
I mean,
Yeah.
that obviously
So they
plays a
paid Dak,
contributing factor.
And then the next week he goes out and scores 19 against the Saints in a 30-point loss.
Again, that's obviously a contributing factor in that they're not able to, pay for the rest of their team to support Dak. It's like if you're giving your entire budget to one guy, but it's 11 guys on the field.
And it's crazy because they're
what
not
do you
even doing
expect?
that. I mean,
Yeah.
they got CeeDee Lamb, who they just paid a shitload, and they got Micah Parsons, who they need to pay.
Yeah.
And they got the rest of their team. Like,
But I mean, like, you need linemen. You need
Oh
need
no,
people
I
to
know this.
protect
I mean,
you,
this
and
is
you need-
the cycle of NFL teams, right? It's why the NFL salary cap's so amazing, as opposed to the NBA, where they can just go create super teams and do whatever.
Yeah.
To where like you
Perpetually
actually have
increasing.
windows where you need to produce, unless there's certain players that are willing to take less. Like if you have to spend all your cap space on a couple players, if they go and perform like Dak did last week, you will not win a game.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen. But yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll go around and just say, who are you most concerned about out of the, considered top end teams, the way, they've looked in the first 2 weeks?
Do injuries play play a factor
Everything.
into it?
What team right now do you say is like red alert, like they could miss the playoffs?
I'm going to say the 49ers, and the reason
Whoa.
why is because
I don't hate it.
I think 49ers, similarly to the Eagles, but I think to a grander scale. I'm going to just use the Eagles as an example really quick because A.J. Brown is out. And so, in my opinion, defenses have an easy time scheming against Devontae Smith and Saquon Barkley. It's like if you're only able to focus on two people, you're going to do pretty well most of the time. And again, to an even more extreme extent, Christian McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel are both out. Jordan Mason is really good, but he's not Christian McCaffrey good, right? And so if you're looking at Brandon Ayuk, and then Brock Purdy he's good, but he's above average, right? He's not phenomenal. He's not elite. I think it's going to be really easy for defense to scheme against, and if you can't score, you can't win. So
enough.
that's what I think.
Yeah, mine. I kind of already hinted at it. Is the Ravens? I think they're on like red alert. Just because they're in the AFC. If they're in the NFC, I'm not nearly as worried.
Yeah.
Like the Cowboys is my secondary team. I'm like really worried about, and they're in the NFC, so I think they should be fine. But they have a lot of holes to fix on that team. Bills are 2-0. The Bills look like they're back. They're the real deal. Josh Allen doesn't need someone to throw to. They'll find ways to win.
Yeah.
The Patriots. I'm not saying they're a playoff team, but they're going to cause some problems. And then you have
Surprising.
we don't know about Tua, but the Jets and the Dolphins are both 1-1. I feel like one of those teams is probably a wild card team, depending on where they go with Aaron Rodgers or Tua. Maybe they both miss, but it'll be in the mix. Then you have Chargers and Chiefs, both 2-0. Harbaugh's turned around that Chargers team.
Yeah.
They look
J.K. Dobbins.
They look pretty good. Well, offense,
everything.
defense.
Everything.
Well, they're just running.
You're
They're
right.
like Michigan.
I mean,
they run the ball.
Quentin Johnson scored 2 touchdowns. So,
You're right.
It's pigs are falling out of the sky. And the Chiefs are 2-0. Chiefs, put them aside. They're in the playoffs.
Them and the refs.
Yeah. Then the Raiders, they're not good, but that
definitely
defense reminds me like they could cause some problems. I don't know. They seem semi-similar to the Jets in that way, where like that defense is pretty scary and they can probably win some games.
Defense
when it gets close.
alone, they could be in that wild card mix just to cause problems.
For sure. Steelers 2-0. Just for a second, our team. I mean, oh my God, I love the way Mike Tomlin has these boys playing defense like I've never seen in my entire life. And our defense was good last year. I think we have the best defense in the NFL because TJ Watt on every single snap is a problem.
Yeah.
Like 100% of the time, no matter what they do with him. Steelers, I think, are a playoff team, especially if you have Justin Fields completing passes, being efficient, and not turning it over. Like, this team is orgasmic. Steelers winning 13-6 games, 13-10, rock hard. I've never been more of a fan of the way we're playing football than in the last decade than I've seen right now. Browns, again, I think I'm putting them in that Raiders-ish group where their defense is still really freaking good. Yeah. And if Deshaun decides he wants to play like he did in the fourth quarter last game, they're going to win some games. And then you look in the other division, Texans 2-0. So there's a lot of teams I think are in that playoff mix.
Yeah.
And you still have the Bengals and the Ravens at 0-2.
Yep.
You can't put 10 teams in the playoffs. There's only 7 of them. So, if the Ravens don't turn around, they have to play everyone in that division. I'm putting on red alert right now. Ravens might not win 9 games and they might not make the playoffs after being the 1 seed last year. If they don't fix something.
That's a bold prediction.
Because dude, I'm just telling you what I'm seeing. It doesn't look good.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you with the Ravens. I think the whole NFC, like, Cowboys, Eagles, and Lions should all be kind of on alert. The only reason why I'm not saying the 49ers is because I think Kyle Shanahan's such a good coach.
He's
I
fantastic.
trust him to, navigate this tough time, whereas I don't trust Mike McCarthy, Nick Sirianni, Dan Campbell. I think he has enough pieces to keep the Lions safe, but something about this Lions team looks a little bit concerning. They're just not productive on offense. I don't know what's going on.
They
But
only give the ball to one player, and his name's Jameson Williams. They don't like throwing the ball to Laporta or Amon-Ra. But that's another conversation.
That's another conversation. But I don't know. I'm gonna say Cowboys, but I think you could argue Eagles and Cowboys. Just this division,
That's fair.
something about it. Just Nick Sirianni, they should not have lost to
He
the
needs
Falcons.
to be fired.
But like, because he has that's a team, like, roster-wise, where, like, they should at minimum, like, win 11 games this season. But because, like, his inability to call, like, just intelligent plays,
Yeah.
like, limits them so much. Like, they lost. I mean, they're on the 5-yard line, didn't kick a field goal. They threw the ball when they could
They
have
went for it
ran
on
it.
fourth down twice.
I know.
Yeah.
But I still think Eagles are here, but Cowboys are here for me on red alert because the only reason is they have no depth. They have no running backs at
Yeah,
all. They
that's
have one receiver
so true.
who can like actually make like a impact play.
Yeah, he's elite. CD's elite.
And
I'd say
def-
he's it on offense.
and
Yeah.
defensively, they're nothing that we thought they would be. Like I
Yeah.
thought they would be like in that top 5 mix. They're nowhere near
They're
that.
horrendous.
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
They're
completely
at
agree.
best middle of the pack. So
Yeah.
I think Cowboys time to panic, and also Mike McCarthy's not a good coach. So I think
Nope.
there's just a complete across the board like panic mode.
Fair enough. Well, there you have it. I mean, NFL is super interesting this year. It's definitely
Anyone could beat anyone.
different style of football. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it really is an open league, which is kind of fun.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun. You get to see, unless you're playing the Chiefs, where the refs will just help them out and give them win.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's not talk about
We
that.
won't talk about that.
My
The
bank
NFL
account
season,
Mahomes.
week 3 is about to be electric.
Oh, should we talk about Patrick Mahomes?
No, we can't talk about Patrick Mahomes. We'll do it another time. We'll do it another time.